Hey everybody, welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live, the show where we help you get through what you are dealing with by showing you that each and every person out there has dealt with something in their life. I am Jeff Marconette Jr., also known as the award winning international Make Every Second Count speaker, and boy, am I honored to be here with you tonight. I ask you if you would please share this episode out, invite all kinds of people to watch it, and don't forget to give us all kinds of likes and comments because we love your comments. So, with no further ado, I would like to bring to the stage Chris Mitchell. Hey, Chris, how are you this evening?
I am doing wonderful. How are you doing this evening? And thank you for having me as a guest tonight.
That is great. I thank you so much. And I know you're a busy guy, and I just appreciate you being here with me and my people. So I'm going to be inviting a few people while you go ahead and tell everybody who you are, where you're from, what you do, and more importantly, why you do what you do.
All right, so I have a little job to do here. Awesome. My name is Chris Mitchell. I love saying this because the way you asked the question, where are you from? And the technical answer is from my mom's womb. But I'm originally from the St. Louis area. I am now living in Southwest Missouri near Joplin, Missouri, which is near the Missouri, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Arkansas border. I have a wife, and I have a fur. We have a fur baby, so we're pretty happy here. The other thing that you wanted to know is what do I do? Well, I do a lot of stuff. I have my own business called hashtag Define Yourself, and in that business, our mission is to empower people with disabilities to overcome those disabilities so they can create and live the successful life that they desire, that they deserve, and that they will love living. And why do I do all of that? Because I've been a disabled person with various disabilities. We'll probably get into those tonight. I know how hard it is to struggle to make it in this world as a person with disability. And it's my calling, my mission in life is to help other people succeed. And that's why I do what I do.
That is awesome. I think that is phenomenal, actually, if you want to get technical. And while I don't see eye to eye with you in saying that you are disabled, I understand what you are saying. But to me, people don't have disabilities, they only have different abilities. Like, it could differ from you to me to the next guy down the road. Now, I know that I was talking in the hospital one day to a group of students that are developmentally different. And I was talking to this one kid, we'll just call him Adam, and I knew he played basketball on a team for the Salvation Army or for Riverside, not Salvation Army. And I said to him, "Hey Adam, so I'm unable to physically play basketball. You play basketball, right?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, is that a disability of mine?" And he thought for a good hard minute and he said, "No, that's not a disability." I said, "What is it then?" And he couldn't come up with anything. And I said, "That is a different ability. See, you have abilities I don't have. I have abilities you don't have. You might not be able to do one thing, but I might not be able to do something else. Therefore, you have different abilities. But I will respect you in calling your stuff disabilities. But to me, that's just not the way it is. So, but I digress. So, would you like to tell us a little bit of how you got into these adversities?
All right. First of all, I totally agree with what you're saying. They are different abilities. I use the word disability because this is the internet term, good search engine optimization, because people will type that in a lot when they're looking for what I do. But yeah, I actually identify as a person with a disability, not a disabled person, because I like putting the person first. But we all have different abilities, whether we have a quote unquote disability or not. I mean, there's certain things I can do that my wife cannot do. And not because of a disability. I'm better at taking care of the checkbook than she is. And she's better at laundry than I am. Because my theory is if the lid closes on the washing machine, there's still room for more laundry and soap. So I'm not allowed to do that anymore. So yeah, so I do agree with that. We all have different abilities and we're differently abled. Now, your question was, if I remember correctly, because I talked so long, um, what are some of my adversities that I
Yeah,
battle with on a
how
daily basis?
exactly did your adversity start?
Well, they started before I was born, actually. My mom
Oh,
was exposed to the German measles. She was unaware of it at the time while she was pregnant with me. So I was born with what's called CRS, which is congenital rubella syndrome, which is not heard of that much these days. But back when I was a baby, yes, I'm dating myself. I'm a dinosaur. That was not overly uncommon, not that frequent, but it was more heard of back in that day. From the CRS, I had some birth defects. The primary one that I want to talk about first is vision. I was born with cataracts, which reduced my vision to about 2200 in my left eye and 2300 in my right eye. I can't read out of my right eye, and I don't have any depth perception, which is really a challenge for me, and I'll explain why in a moment. To be classified here in the United States, because I know we can have international viewers here, to being visually disabled or legally blind, which would be a classification where you can receive supplementary security income. Your best vision, the eye with the best vision with correction on it. I'm wearing glasses right now, and all has to be at least 2200. So I made it right underneath that wire. Another birth defect that I had was um, a constricted aorta in my heart, and I had several cardiac surgeries before I was let to go home from the hospital about a month later. And I've had some other cardiac surgeries throughout my childhood and my adult years. Now, I also have had, was born, I don't know if it's related to this or not, but I've also battled a severe speech impediment that required me to go to speech therapy before I could start preschool. And I was a late talker, which hard to believe because I can't shut up these days. So I do talk a lot. So I had to battle that as well. And the amazing part is I've been through all of that. I still have a little speech impediment, but I did fulfill a childhood dream of working in broadcast radio for a while when I was a younger person.
wow.
And then I have
Congrats.
another disability, another different ability. I think it allows me to be creative. I have ADD, ADHD. It was ADHD when I was younger. Now that I'm a little bit older, the H has decided he's retired, so it's ADD. So I do bounce off the walls a lot, which I bet you're sitting there thinking, I would never have guessed that about Chris. He's so calm and quiet and hard to get him to talk. But yeah, I have ADD. And when I was in my mid 30s, I'll be honest, I had to undergo a ascending to descending aortic bypass because I mentioned my constricted aorta at birth. I had outgrown that's not medical, but the little straw, that's the way they explained it to me as a kid, that was inserted for the blood flow. During that procedure, I survived an ischemic stroke to my spinal cord, which to lay people is a stroke, to medical communities is incomplete spinal cord injury. And that robbed me of my ability to run, walk, or even stand on my own. So those are the adversities I've faced. And in fact, throughout my life, and this runs on my dad's side of the family, I've also, and this is going to really shock people because I'm so bouncy right now. I battle depression on a frequent basis. I have recurring
Wow.
depression.
Wow.
So
I'm
that's
I'm
a short
so
laundry list,
sorry
isn't
to
it?
hear that. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. And darn it. Sorry, I hit the
Well,
wrong button.
that's
But
okay.
so how exactly Well, what was it like when you were first told that you had this stuff?
Well, the vision thing has never bothered me. I mean, if you woke up tomorrow morning with my vision, it would be like looking through a fog. To me, it's normal, so it doesn't really bother me. Okay, my vision is impaired. Okay, that explains why I'm not good at sports. Okay, I'm fine. Did not bother me that much. As a kid growing up with it, it didn't matter. It was just, I was born that way. I lived with it. The ischemic stroke to my spinal cord that robbed me of my ability to run, walk, or even stand. I was engaged at that time, and it turned my world upside down. But I was never upset or angry or aggravated or like depressed on it, because I've always looked at every different ability that you call it, adversity, whatever word you want to use, as a challenge. I was made this way for a reason by my creator, and there's a purpose to it. I may not understand it today, tomorrow, whenever, but I've always looked at it as a challenge, and I don't back away from challenges.
So it sounds like you have a very strong faith.
Yes, I do.
All right. What would you tell somebody that doesn't have that faith, that maybe has been told that there's stuff they can't do, or there's some things that are going to be extremely challenging for them?
First of all, yes, I am a man of faith. I am very proud of my faith, but I also know my faith fits me perfectly and not everyone else. So I try not to convert anyone into a religious environment. But if somebody tells me I can't do something, I tell them two things. One, if you're saying I can't do something, like I can't walk, you're leaving out an important word, and that should be stated as I cannot walk yet. Because what we tell our minds will become our reality. If we keep telling ourselves, I can't do something, our mind will believe it, and then we won't be able to do it. But if we say, I can't walk yet, that gives us hope that there will be a day we can walk again. And I do that myself. I mean, I had my spinal cord injury over 20 years ago, and I've always had the belief I can't walk yet. And for the first 5 years, the only way I can get around is in a wheelchair or on a electric scooter. And then one day, the 5 years after my injury, my insurance company stopped paying for my outpatient therapy. I decided I'm going to teach myself how to walk. So we were at a Target. Target owes me money now for that free plug. And I grabbed a little red cart outside of our car, and I pushed it in. It was not pretty. It was not easy, but that's how I started teaching myself how to walk again. And now I get around with a rollator, which is a walker with four wheels. The other
Yes.
thing I would tell people, if somebody tells you you can't do something, that's just their opinion. And my response to that is, somebody says to me, Chris, has anyone told you lately you can't walk? And my response is, not anyone whose opinion matters to me. Because the only person's opinion who matters to me is mine. Now, if somebody tells you can't do something, like you cannot rob a bank, there's laws to that. Don't blow that off and do something to prove them wrong. But if they say you can't do something, they don't know you. That's just their opinion. And don't let that get into your mind and limit you on what you can do.
Yes, that is so phenomenal. I really can't even explain how awesome to hear that is, because a big thing to me has always been my car wreck. And after my car wreck, I was told that I wouldn't walk again, and I had to find a way to get that out of my mind, to ignore those people that were telling me that it wouldn't happen. Now, I'll show you a picture of my car here. Yeah, that's my car, and as you can see, well, you might not be able to see it,
Oh,
but
I can see it. I can see the
no,
car.
I'm saying you might not be able to
Oh,
see
okay.
the fact that they used the jaws of life
Oh, that's why
to
the door is
get,
missing.
yeah, to get me out of there.
Hmm.
And I was rushed to the local hospital and then taken to the level 1 trauma center that is about 30 miles from my house. And I've been in physical therapy for 21 plus years now,
Wow.
and I'm not stopping yet.
Good word. I like
because
that word.
like like I've had a lot of people tell me that I'm not going to do anything after so long after the wreck. And just like your insurance company cut you off after what, 5 years?
No, they actually cut me off about a little less than a year after my injury. I after 5 years after they stopped paying for my outpatient, I taught myself to walk.
Yeah, all right. Well, they quit paying for yours a year after
Right.
your accident because it is believed that people won't make
Hmm.
improvements after so much time.
Called
Well,
spontaneous recovery. Yeah, there's a period
y-
6 to 12 months.
yeah, well, I proved that wrong, and I continue to prove that wrong every week because the thing is, it's not how much therapy you do that is not going to help you. That's, I'm not saying that will help you out a lot. I'm saying your willingness to work. And that is something that nobody can tell you except for you. So you guys have to be able be willing to go out there and actually work and work hard for what you want in life. Because as Chris sits here and tells you, he has gone through a lot in his life. And there are people that wouldn't blame him if he quit. What wouldn't blink an eye if he said that, okay, 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 I'm done trying. This isn't working. But he decided not to. So that's something you have to do in your life. You can never, ever, ever give up on yourself. So you seem very happy, bubbly, energetic right now.
Yes.
And how exactly do you do that?
Well, there's a little secret to that. Like I mentioned earlier, I had a severe speech impediment, and my childhood dream was to work in radio. And I worked in morning radio. So whenever you put a camera in front of me and a microphone in front of me or an audience in front of me, I become Mr. Energy. That's my secret to doing that. It's probably not the secret you want to know, but that's what I do. But when I'm off camera, off mic, not speaking to a group or anything, I stay positive because I know that if I'm negative, that's going to defeat me. And I refuse to let anything defeat me. That's why I named my business Define Yourself. You don't want to let anything define who you are, tell you what you can or cannot do, limit you, even internal thoughts. You are the only person who can define who you are today and who you will become. And you got to eradicate and eliminate and minimize, maybe not eradicate. I don't want people to pick up assault rifles and start, popping off people, but you do want to get rid of the things in your life that are negative, that's going to hold you back. And that's what I do. My office, it's in the middle of a remodel, but I got off camera in front of me some inspirational posters and signs. I have a collection of over 3,000 inspirational quotes that I refer to, and I have positive things around me because I want to have a very positive life. I mean, look what I've been through. And those who may not know me, we did not really get into this, but right now I'm taking extra care of my wife. She's been diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, and that could bring me
Oh,
down. But I choose not to because I know being positive is going to get me through it. Being positive is going to get her through it, because you have negative energy when you're battling cancer, then the cancer wins. And we do not want that to happen any sooner than it might happen.
no. You know, after my accident in my hospital room, I was on the rehab ward for probably like 2 months. And my parents had never left me alone in that hospital. And one of their main things was that this room was going to have no negativity. So if you wanted to talk negative about something or about someone, you had to go outside of the room to spew that negative energy. And I think that is one of those things that really, really, really helped me survive. Well, not only survive, but thrive in this world. And I really appreciate all that my parents did while I was in the hospital, and all of they have done since a hospital stay as well.
Yeah, a good support system is extremely important no matter where you are in your journey with your different abilities, your adversities, disabilities, whatever you want to call them. And that's one thing I do tell people. You want to prune the garden of your friendships. You got to get out the crabgrass. Those are the crabby people who want to tell you you can't do and all the negative, and get healthy little plants going. It's a gardening reference. And so you will get further along in life. Similar to your story, when I had my injury, my wife at the time, she was my fiance. She stayed with me 24 hours a day in my hospital room, sleeping, sitting up in a very uncomfortable chair, so she could be there if I needed anything. And when I was at rehab, she went home at night, but she was there in the morning until 9 o'clock at night, with me in every single physical therapy event I was at, encouraging me on, and it made a world of difference for me. So yes, you want to get the crabgrass out of your life and plant great big oak trees that are going to be strong there for you in your challenges. And whether you have a different ability, adversity, or disability, that's good advice for anybody. If you want to succeed in life, you got to get the crabgrass out and get great people who are going to cheer you on and not try to hold you back.
So it's said by somebody, I forget who, but if you water the garden, you cannot help but accidentally water the weeds at the same time as watering the flowers. So how can you nurture those positive relationships and, well, get rid of the negative relationships?
Well, you got to try to hang out with the people who are going to be lifting you up. And, you know, you're interacting with people. And if there's people who are negative, just stay positive. Maybe your positivity will change them. Who knows? We can always hope. But you just want to make sure you stay with the people who are going to lift you up. And like we talked about earlier, if somebody says something negative to you or about you, remember that's just their opinion. It doesn't need to be your fact. Just keep that in mind. Everyone has an opinion. They have a right to the opinion. Smart people will share the um, uplifting opinions. But then everyone feels they have a right to share their opinion, especially in today's world. If you go on social media, I know so many people's opinions. I don't really care to know all of their opinions because many of them are negative. So I tune that out. I stay away from social media. I have to use it for work, but I otherwise will stay away from it because I don't care for social media because there's so much negativeness on it. I don't need that negatives in my life. You only have a certain number of days here on earth. Why fill them up with negativity? Just hang out with a positive. And you have a negative person around you, try to minimize your exposure with them. But if you have to be around them and they're negative, just remember their negativity is their opinion, not yours, and it's their problem. Don't let it become yours.
Yeah. What books or audio or magazines or anything of that kind do you listen to in order to stay positive?
That's a very good question. I read a wide selection of books. I'm As I've gotten older, I watch a lot less TV. I don't care for television either. That's another sore subject. But I read a lot of books. I like reading books by well, some of the Chicken Soup for the Soul books, but I also like Jack Canfield himself. I had a chance to talk to him a couple of weeks ago for a couple of minutes. It was a cool experience. And so I like reading his stuff. I read a lot of John Maxwell because I want to read stuff that's going to help me improve me. I No offense to people who enjoy reading science fiction. I love Star Trek, but that's not good. And I enjoy reading that once in a while just for fun. But my main reading selection is self-improvement books and memoirs of people who have overcame or overcoming adversities, because that's going to lift me up. That's going to make me feel stronger in my life. I also listen to, and they're going to owe me money here, iHeartRadio. I'm kidding. It's a free plug for them. And I listen to what's called Up Radio, which is contemporary very Christian music. I have that playing in my office all morning while I'm writing. And that has positive, uplifting music. It's not always Christian, but it is a positive music. It has a great message in it. So those things help me as well. I like watching YouTube videos that are inspiring stories. I stay away from the news because that stuff is scary and it's depressing. But that's basically what I surround myself with to keep myself positive and in a good frame of mind.
That's awesome. So I have to give myself a shameless plug here for a minute. But if you guys like this show, if you're interested in watching more of these shows, down there at the bottom of the screen, it tells you my YouTube address, and you can subscribe there. You can watch all these live episodes on YouTube, but you can also catch many of the previous episodes. And I have been doing this show for over 4 years now. So you guys can definitely find a lot of it there. And I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys comment on those and share those with all kinds of people, because I know they can help somebody. So, Chris, is there any contact information you would like to give out?
Yes, sir, and thank you for asking for that. Now, a lot of people use this time to tell you, I'm on social media, I'm here, and all these addresses. People get confused about that. So I'm going to give one. Because if you go to this one place, you're going to find all of that stuff and more. It's my website, thechrismitchell.com. That's T as in like Tom, THE, Chris, CHRIS, Mitchell, MITCHELL.com. On that site, you're going to find blog posts that I've done. You're going to find a list of all the podcasts I've been on. I'm a pretty popular guy, apparently, because I've been on probably about 2 or 3 dozen podcasts. You get to see samples of some of my speaking I do. You can connect to my YouTube channel. Find me on LinkedIn and on Facebook when I do pop on there occasionally. So the best place to connect with me is my website, thechrismitchell.com. And on there, you can also find my book, It Doesn't Define Me, How I Rebuilt My Life After Surviving My Ischemic Stroke to My Spinal Cord. Yes, I know it's a long title, but if I had to rename it today, I would shorten it down. And and that's my story of the what we've been talking about, my incomplete spinal cord injury, how it turned my world upside down, and how I did rebuild my life after that. And I'm wanting that message to be to people that they can do the same no matter what adversity or obstacle comes in their way. An obstacle is only an obstacle. You keep your eye on it. If you focus on your goals, then you can get past that obstacle, but don't get blinded by the obstacle. So my book's on there, and you can get autographed copies off from my website, and they're also available on Amazon and in Kindle format. So yeah, go to my website, thechrismitchell.com.
Yep, and I have that up here on the screen right now. So you guys definitely go check him out, thechrismitchell.com, and you can check out all his socials that he has, and you can get his book. I wow, books. Wow. That's pretty awesome. But I have to tell everybody out there, including you, Chris, that you have to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life. You have to make every second count. Why, you might ask?
Good question.
Because you never know when those seconds are going to run out on your one life. And that's all we get. Hey, I'll see you guys back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And until then, I want you to have a great week. And thank you, Chris. I appreciate you. And you have a great week as well.
Thank you for having me tonight, and I wish everyone the same.
Thanks, Chris.